Hello everyone, it's IC Abyss here, and today we are talking about deviating from the source material, which is a thing that has, ruined or plagued the Hollywood for a while now. I don't know, it just feels like it's a new trend in Hollywood where they will just take any source material or any original piece of work or fiction, and they will just do whatever the hell they want with that. And I really hate it when they say that they are doing it for the modern audiences, which means insertion of an excessive amounts of politics. And you know what? I don't want to sit here and naively tell you, an exaggeration of the truth, because I just want to clarify this thing that insertion of politics have been in media and movies for a long time. Like even before, if you look at movies from the 80s or 90s, like there were some level of politics in those movies as well, but now it just feels really excessive. Like if even if you're not aware of the politics, you will definitely notice it. And I really do hate it whenever they change the source material. Like imagine like you're an author or you're an artist and you work on a property, and you've worked your whole life, like you've dedicated your whole life to making that world or like that piece of fiction come to life. And it's not easy, people. Like if you are someone who is working creatively, if you're into writing or anything like that, you would know like how hard it is to like create something that like that just blows up, and everyone loves that. Yeah, like it's really hard. I'm thinking about Lord of the Rings, like making a world like that. It's not an easy thing to do. And whenever authors or artists they make a world like that, they're pouring themselves into their world. And imagine like 50 years from their time, some new people come around and say that their author's original vision was problematic, and they're going to make their changes because they think that they can improve upon their work. And I just feel like that it just feels like they have a really big ego. Like they feel like they can come over and they can just change whatever the hell they want. Like I get it, like whenever you're adapting anything to movies or shows, you have to change some things. Like if you watch Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter movies, they are definitely adapted. Like they are changed from their source material, not completely, but they are not changed to the extent where you can't even recognize them from the original counterparts. But today it just feels like they're doing it in excess. Like I'm thinking about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and also Witcher Blood Origins. And surprisingly, they do the deviation so much that it just becomes something completely different from the source material. Like the source material would be about something else, and they deviate so much that it just turns into something completely different and unrecognizable. And I'm going to give the example of Witcher Blood Origin again, because it feels like the writers always wanted to make a show like that, Witcher Blood Origin, which absolutely bombed. No one liked that show. Like people only wanted to watch the Witcher show. Like that's why they were there. Like they wanted to watch Witcher, but the writers still made some changes in the Witcher, and the audience for that show sort of like dropped off. So the question is, why do like these people deviate so much? And I think there might be a simple answer to that question, and you may have heard it or not, but I'm going to try and explain. Today, like in Hollywood, like you have to think about movies as products. Like they're not movies, they are products. And a product is something that you have to sell. And if it's not making money, and if you don't have faith in a product, then you're not going to spend money, invest money in that product, and you're not going to sell that. So that's, I think, the problem that new projects face when they are like presented as new ideas, because new ideas are sort of like I can imagine executives sort of being sort of reluctant to invest in those kinds of ideas, because that's why you see a lot of franchises and reboots, because those franchises and reboots, they give you an assurance that some money will be made back, no no matter how terrible the remake or the continuation of a franchise, like it assures you that there will be money to be made. So you have these executives that keep on milking these franchises and keep on rebooting old franchises in and instead of like investing in new products. So that's why I think like these writers and the directors, instead of like sticking to the original source material, they add a lot of themselves into it, because I don't think they have the opportunity to do whatever they want in the industry, because no one wants to take a risk with a new writer or a new director and do something risky, because Hollywood is starting to become really a risk-free area. Like no one's going to invest $100 million into a movie and take a chance on that risk. Like I think Hollywood is becoming so paranoid and starting to invest so much into old franchises that it's starting to bite them in the ass. And the example for that kind of a show would be Willow, because Netflix decided to invest money, a lot of money actually, in a movie that was already established, and they thought that they could turn that into a profit, because again, they think that if something's already established, they can turn that into an easy profit. But that absolutely did not work. Willow was a really underwhelming show. No one really cared about that show, and well, it feels like that even rebooting shows does not work, or continuing franchises also does not work anymore. So I think it just comes back to taking risks, and I hope that Hollywood starts taking more risk, because obviously, when people are taking risks, there are going to be a lot of movies that are, well, really, really bad. But there is always that one off chance that one movie becomes that legendary new movie that sort of sets a trend for a lot of copycats kind of movies. But yeah, there's always that kind of a really big movie that can happen when people start taking more of a risks. So yeah, I think Hollywood can use a little bit of that. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for now. Those are my thoughts, and you guys can let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. And yeah, as always, it's time for a goodbye.